A recent study done by Oracle, spanning 13 countries, 15,000 participants, showed that 76% of people feel stuck. There's this one key statement that I think summarizes it. People most commonly expressed anxiety about the future, being trapped in routines, and feelings of loneliness. So my question for you is, how are we supposed to thrive when so many of us just feel like we're surviving? I'm Luke. Welcome to another episode of the Vision to Victory podcast, where we discuss becoming the most authentic you so you can live with purpose, passion, and joy. I want to take the next few weeks to talk about this topic. Take back your life. Take back your life. And I want to tell you about the next couple weeks, and then we'll dive into today. 2 weeks from now, we're going to be talking about relentless pursuit, getting clear and committed to the life you want. Next week, we're going to talk about ruthless elimination, letting go of what's holding you back. And today, I want to talk on the topic of radical acceptance. Radical acceptance. And I want to give you a quote from the renowned psychologist who really first coined this phrase. Her name's Marsha Linehan. She says this: "It means fully and completely accepting reality as it is right now in your mind, heart, and body without judgment, resistance, denial, or trying to fight it." I'm going to read this one more time. It means fully and completely accepting reality as it is right now in your mind, heart, and body without judgment, resistance, denial, or trying to fight it. I love this. And radical acceptance, I think, is part of every single area of our life. And I think so often we don't realize that we're in denial, because I think that maybe that's part of what denial is, right? It's kind of like we lie to ourselves or to those around us, or pretend that things are different than they really are, because we maybe would like them to be different. Whatever the case might be, we're not being honest about whatever the situation is. And radical acceptance allows us to make progress in any area of our life if we accept the reality of the situation, whatever that might be. And I love these three key thoughts that Marsha gives, and I want to read them to you here. Number one, fighting against reality doesn't change it. Fighting against reality doesn't change it. Number two, radical acceptance requires that we let go of bitterness or tantrums because life is not the way you want. And number three, pain in life is inevitable, but suffering is often optional. Suffering is often optional. I'm going to start with that first one. Fighting against reality doesn't change it. That might sound obvious, but we still do it all the time. A couple weeks ago, I had a cleaning lady. We have a cleaning service in our house, and the cleaning person stole some items from our home. There's a lot more details to the story, but the short version is something was taken that was very, it was important to me. It mattered to me, not because of any monetary value, but because I can't replace it. It's not something that I could just go buy another one. It was very meaningful to me, and I was very upset, obviously, as you might imagine, when I discovered this, and we kind of went through the process to figure out what happened to make sure that we hadn't misplaced it or something like that. It became very clear that that was not the case, and that it was in fact taken. So I had a choice, right? And it also, once we kind of worked through the process, it became clear that I wasn't going to get it back. And so I could either stay upset, I could stay mad, I could, keep thinking of, stewing on whatever I'd like to say or do, whatever the case is. But the truth is, I couldn't change the situation. And the best option at that point is radical acceptance, to just accept that this is the reality, find a way to forgive that person and move on. And this is what I love. And I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but the third point that Marsha made was that pain is inevitable. Pain in life is inevitable. Suffering, which is the prolonged emotional, when we stay stuck in that space, we keep reliving the same thing over and over again, is often optional. And so in the instance of this example, if I choose to stay angry and upset, then and to think about it and to let it rent space, then I am prolonging, my emotional turmoil, if you will. I'm choosing some suffering to keep reliving that painful situation over and over again. We don't want to do that, obviously. If we can get in the habit of radically accepting things as they are, then we can move forward, make progress, not stay stuck. So, number one, fighting its reality does not change it. And then again, number two, we need to let go of bitterness and tantrums because life isn't the way we want. It doesn't matter if I would choose it to be different. It doesn't matter if I would choose to not have my stuff stolen. Of course, that's the case, right? I can stay bitter or I can throw a fit about it. What good is that going to do? We have to let go of our expectations of how life should be. And, in that situation, it's kind of obvious that there's no benefit to holding on to it. Sometimes it might not be quite so obvious, but the truth is that we need to let go, hold on what we think life should look like. There's a great saying called accepting life on life's terms, which can be challenging sometimes. There are many things that we can control, and they're all related to ourselves, by the way. We can't control other people. But there's so many things we cannot control, and learning to accept those things helps us live a much more peaceful and joyful and purposeful life. And the third thing that Marsha said was, pain in life is inevitable, but suffering is often optional. I love this. I love this. This is so true. This is what we were just talking about. Pain will happen. We all experience pain. You've experienced pain. You're going to experience it again. Same for me. And if we can just get in our minds and in our psyche that is part of the human experience, but we don't have to keep reliving it over and over again in our minds or being upset or frustrated. Anytime we do that, we're giving power to that situation or power to that person that, was painful, whatever that is. And we're in search of healing and being healthy. And that just requires a radical acceptance of what is, not trying to change the past, change what happened, because we can't do that, of course. But we can choose our story going forward and choose to take it, learn from it, whatever it was, and to move forward. Those are the options, right? It's we can stay stuck or move forward. I want to give you these 4 key thoughts on radical acceptance. I want to talk about what it's not, what it is, what it does, and then how to practice it. What it's not is radical acceptance is not approval or resignation. I think this is so important. You don't have to approve of a situation or, the current reality. It doesn't matter. It's not a surrender to, saying things will never be different. It's not that at all. It's simply acknowledging what is, how the situation is. And then I love this quote, you can accept a painful reality while still working to make the future better. You can accept a painful reality while still working to improve the future. And that's so true. And in fact, I think the only way that you really can improve the future is to be honest about the present and the past, right? Like this is the reality of the situation, and then you can move forward. But it's not an approval or a resignation. So don't misconstrue the acceptance with, surrender in some way, because that's not at all the case. What it is, what radical acceptance is it's the facts. This is the reality of the situation. These are the facts about the past, whatever happened. These are the facts about my own current limitations. It's just the reality, objectively, what is the situation, what are the kind of key components of it. And once you accept it, then you can actually do something with it, right? So we've got what it's not, what it is, and then we want to talk about what it does. What does radical acceptance do? Radical acceptance reduces suffering. That's the bottom line. Not only does it, enable progress, which it does, but the biggest thing is it reduces that suffering that we were talking about earlier. Pain is optional, but pain is inevitable, but suffering is often optional. And if we want to reduce our suffering in life and change the experience that we have, then we can radically accept things as they are, and then we can move forward. We don't have to stay stuck in our past, stuck in what was done to us, stuck in our own mistakes, whatever the case. If we can accept reality as it is without trying to change it, manipulate it, throw a tantrum, then we reduce our suffering, which subsequently, by the way, reduces the suffering of those that are close to us, and then we can move forward. How do we practice radical acceptance? Well, it is just that. It is a practice, and it does require intentionality. Like anything, you can build a habit, you can get muscle memory. I'll share one more personal story. I have a family member who is lost in drug addiction and has been for many years. I've not talked to them in several years, and we were very, very close. And despite the best efforts to provide help, this individual was not interested in that over the years, and ultimately we ended up losing touch, and I haven't talked to them in a long time. And it's sad. That's a sad thing. And I can either stay stuck in the disappointment, in the anger of the situation. I could stay mad at them. Whatever the case, I have a choice to make: stay stuck or move forward. And there's a lot of pieces to that, and I don't want to make light of it because it's not necessarily easy. Maybe you need to grieve the loss. I've had to grieve some of the loss of that relationship in my life. That doesn't mean that I give up hope that maybe they could get healing, or that we could have a restored relationship. It just means that I accept the reality as it is, and I can grieve the loss of that relationship and those years, and whatever I missed out on because of that. I forgive them for any pain that they may have caused, and then I can move forward. I don't want to stay stuck, with their brokenness controlling my thoughts and kind of my emotions in my life. That's not any way to live life. Now, again, I want to just stress this. And this is not surrendering in any way or giving up hope. In fact, I would say the opposite is true. I still have hope. I know many, many people who have recovered from drug addiction. I have shared my own experience with quitting alcohol. But accepting reality is a requirement to live life in the present, to live life in a peaceful way. And then if we ever have the opportunity for a restored relationship, then we can start fresh from that spot without me harboring bitterness or something like that. But whatever the case, we don't want to stay stuck in some place, because of a situation that we can't control. So radical acceptance is a practice, and I encourage you to practice it in every area of your life, big and small. And my question to you today would be, what's one area that maybe you need to be honest with yourself about the situation, be honest with yourself about the radical acceptance that you need? It could be something in your life, maybe a habit or a pattern. It could be some pain that you experienced, that there's still an open wound there that you haven't dealt with and you need to get healing. Whatever it is, it starts with radical acceptance of the situation, being honest about it, and then choosing to take the steps to get the help that you need to get healing from that. So what's one area of your life that you need to accept today so that you can move forward? I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, share it with somebody. Thanks, and I'll talk to you next week.